The most exciting, the most important part of our Florida project, in fact, the heart of everything we'll be doing in Disney World, will be our experimental prototype city of tomorrow. We call it Epcot, spelled E-P-C-O-T.
Welcome to this very special place. Epcot Center, Walt Disney's greatest dream, is now a reality.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. All of us at Epcot Center are glad to have you as our guests today.
Discover Epcot. It's unlike any theme park on Earth. In this wondrous place, the fun and imagination of Disney come together with the innovations of the real world.
Dreamfinder and his small friend Figment are the hosts as you ride through a swirling maze of colors, shapes, sounds, and even smells.
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your Walt Disney World information station. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this is show number 605, and I'm here once again not only to help you have the best vacation experience when you go to the Disney parks, but I also want to bring you some of that Disney magic wherever you are with the podcast, my live video broadcast on Facebook every Wednesday night, videos, blogs, special events, books, and more. Whether it's your first time visiting or you've been hundreds of times, if you're planning a vacation or just love the history, details, secrets, and stories, there's something in the show for you because each week I'm going to take you from the parks to the screens and everything in between. If you're a new listener, thank you, welcome. Please go back and check out some or all the past episodes for interviews, top 10s, reviews, and more. You can subscribe to the podcast in Apple Podcasts and find everything else at the all-new WDWRadio.com. So as we celebrated Walt Disney World's 49th birthday on October 1st, I wanted to look back at not just one of the resort's most popular attractions, but characters as well. The Dreamfinder and Good Right Arm Figment were created for the new Journey into Imagination attraction in Epcot in 1983, and it really ushered in a sense of wonder and fun, the likes of which that park had never seen before. And helping to create that spark of imagination was Ron Schneider, the original Dreamfinder. Ron joined me live in Magic Kingdom on October 1st for the anniversary and shares stories that paint a colorful picture tracing the origins of the attraction and character, as well as his years in the parks, to working with Tony Baxter, and the day that Michael Jackson asked to meet Dreamfinder, and so much more. I'll then have the answer to our last Walt Disney World trivia question of the week, and I'll pose a new challenge for your chance to win an all-new Disney Prize package. Then stay tuned to the end of the show, as I'll have more information, updates, your voicemails, and more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show.
So glad you could come along. I am the Dreamfinder.
Today marks not just the grand opening of Magic Kingdom, but obviously Epcot Center years later in 1982. And in a perfect world, I would have loved to have dashed from here to Epcot, but we're currently in a one park, one day situation. But that's okay, because there's still so much to do here. And cover your mouth and nose, right, physical distancing, got it. If you're wondering, by the way, why I am sitting here without a mask on, I am in the Tomorrowland Terrace, formerly the Tomorrowland Terrace Noodle Station. Oh, spicy noodles, how I miss you so. But this is one of the, I believe there's 4 relaxation stations in the park where you actually can, this is a closed off area, you can actually sit here, take off your mask, relax, eat, drink, and recharge yourself, your internal as well as your phone batteries as well. So it is nice to have the mask off for just a little while. So while we are physically distanced, we are socially closer than ever. And I wanted to do something special for you today, and special for this birthday because it is a very unique year. And I not only wanted to bring you our walking tour and trivia this morning of Magic Kingdom as if we were walking here together, because I get that you can't get here maybe as quickly or as easily as you would like to. But I said, there is so much that happened today, and there's so much that today represents. And I thought about the opening of the parks, and I thought about the opening of Epcot Center, which, too, at this time is undergoing its own major transformation. The more things change, the more they really stay the same. And I thought back to early Epcot Center, not necessarily opening day in 1982, but opening day in 1983, when the game really changed. Really, I think, for the trajectory of the park, too, because on that day, the Imagination Pavilion opens, and we were introduced to not one, but two, count them, two new characters, not based on any intellectual property or movie, but that were created specifically for the park and instantly became fan favorites as well as personal favorites of mine. And because I raised my children correctly, while I have taken them on this current version of the attraction, my son still to this day remembers watching DVDs of the original Journey into Imagination, which remains his favorite. And today, I have brought you someone who knows that attraction better than everyone, because he not only wrote it and experienced it, but he lived it, because he was, and for me will always remain, the Dreamfinder. I want to introduce you, or reintroduce you, to my friend Ron Schneider, the original Dreamfinder from Journey into Imagination. So now I got to put my glasses on because I'll never be able to read the comments otherwise.
I don't blame you. Wait a minute.
I know, it's
okay,
very...
I got it.
Yeah, put your goggles on too. This is what happens when you get to be our age.
It feels so nice to be in the relaxation area without pants.
And I think it said no masks, but I'm with you. Like I also removed my pants as well. So listen, we've known each other a long time. I was trying to. You were on the show back like in early double digits. I think somebody said show 16 or so, and then we actually celebrated. I think it was Epcot's 25th together. I distinctly remember, as we take a trip down memory lane, being in front of said Imagination Pavilion, you on your little rocket scooter, and my son and daughter were there, and my son was wide-eyed, like he could not believe this was the Dreamfinder. And even when I told him the other day that I was coming to see you, his eyes widened again because of what you and that character represented for him, and I think literally millions of kids.
That was a thrill. They had this little mob gathering. Security had to come over and ask us. They're blocking the entrance, and then to get to take that whole group of people on the ride. That was the most wonderful thrill, and we got to go through there with all the kids, and watch their little faces of disappointment. And saw the ride, and we got to the end of the ride, and I just spontaneously there was this lull before the big explosion happens at the end. I say, "Oh, kids, what did we learn today?" And the kids, all of them in unison, went, "Nothing." It's just perfect.
Well, which is pretty, it's pretty appropriate.
It's accurate, if nothing else. Yeah. But it was wonderful to meet everybody, and I remember that day vividly myself.
Yeah, and I can't believe how much time has gone by, but you still look as the same
exactly the same. Yeah, it's amazing. No, notice I don't stand up, but still.
And by the way, if you are watching live, again, thank you for being here. Please do me a favor, tag and invite a friend to come and watch. Ron's going to be generous and take some of your questions as well as we learn a little bit more. I think for people who don't know, I'm sure they'd be fascinated to find out, how does little Ronnie Schneider, how do you get to this role of Dreamfinder? How does that happen? Like, were you with the company already? Was it a newspaper advertisement? Did you just enter the wrong door? Like, just go, put on the costume?
It's a combination of all those things. It's interesting that you start with little Ronnie Schneider, because that's really when it started. I was at Disneyland the day that the park opened in 1955. My father did some of the air conditioning work, and So I was there actually the second day. The first day was open to the public, July 18th, and grew up going to the park and always was interested in magic and puppetry. And in 1970, I saw the show at Disneyland, the Golden Horseshoe Review, starring Wally Bogue, and decided that's what I want to do with my life. I want to be an actor in the theme parks. I love the idea of doing a show. I do a two-person act, and the other person doesn't know their lines because they're the audience. And my job is to involve them in the things and get them to play along with me. So from 1970 to 1980, I worked at Universal Studios. I was a tour guide. I worked at Magic Mountain as a ride operator and a street performer. I worked at Wild Animals. And in 1980, I got my dream job doing the Golden Horseshoe Review. I was there for a couple of years when I saw a picture of these two new characters that were going to be at Epcot Center. There's one of them right there. And I heard they were going to be the only characters at Epcot. And
right, because Epcot was a very different place. It was very much, there was no Mickey, there was no Fab Five, there was nothing.
It was not supposed to be a fantasy park, it was supposed to be an inspiration park. And we were the representatives of the process of imagination, of creativity. So I went to my boss, Sonny Anderson, and I said, Sonny, if you're going to have this guy walking around, I want to do it. And they just said, yeah, okay, sure. At that time, they knew I could perform, and I was relatively wholesome. And they brought me out here to Florida and turned me loose. Nobody had ever done the character before, so I got to write my own book.
Right, so I was going to say, you really sort of, I mean, because there was the character in the attraction, and Chuck McCann did the voice in the attraction, but nobody had ever, there was no frame of reference, so you really developed this character's personality beyond the confines of the attraction itself.
It was up to me to do something with him. They didn't tell me what to do. I knew that since I so loved this particular form of performance, I didn't want to just pose for pictures and sign autographs. My experience, his parents are always, that guy's kid has his picture taken with a monkey, I want my kid's picture taken with a monkey. And if I was going to spend years doing this, the character was so wonderful, the story of the ride was so wonderful, that I had to do something that was worthy of Epcot and of the ride and of the characters that Tony Baxter had created. So I went out on set with the dragon and started playing with the kids in a nice way. And I started treating them like sparks of inspiration. Like I'd never seen a child before in my life. And I also let Figment take a back seat. He didn't need to be entertaining. He was already a dragon. So I would play with people, and believe it or not, they would play back. The trick I found was that there's only 3 or 4 ways a grown-up can react to a wizard holding a dragon. Once you learned what those 3 or 4 ways were, and you developed for each one 3 or 4 ways of responding, you got a show. So I could entertain the people who were waiting to have their picture taken. I could involve people in the theme of creativity, and this way carry forth the message of what was in the ride, and kept myself entertained at the same time.
Well, I think that was such an interesting choice, right? And first of all, the fact they gave you that choice, as opposed to Figment Dreamfinder coming out, sort of knowing everything there is to know and trying to teach people, that sense of childlike wonder and amazement it empowered the kids to be teachers as well, and sort of, I think, brought Dreamfinder a little bit farther down to their level.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to somebody talking at them, they were somebody who was talking with them.
I learned the best way to get somebody to play with me was not to come on strong. Not to go, hey, how you doing? I'm Dreamfinder. No. I would mirror the child, the way they were breathing, the way they were looking at me, and the way that they would cover their nose and their mouth and wear a mask at all times. Don't ever forget this. It's important. Wash your hands. Lou, we've been sitting here for 10 minutes.
I know.
You haven't washed your hands once.
My parents have been telling me that for years, but now that the voice of God is telling me, I'm going to remember.
Meanwhile,
when you first got the role, did you talk to Tony at all? Was there any sort of direction from the person who as the story goes, really helped sort of bring this figment of imagination to life in this other character, Dreamfinder?
When I heard about the role, and I was first interested, I called a friend of mine, Ken Lisi. He ran the sound department at Wed Enterprises, now Imagineering. And I said, have you got a recording of the character's voice from the ride? Because I'd like to hear that, see if I could match it, and that would help me get the role. He said, yeah, come down to Imagineering tomorrow and I'll give you a tape. So I go down to Imagineering. He brings out a cassette. It says Imagineering turntable on it. And then he says, come with me. And he takes me in and introduces me to Tony Baxter and Barry Braverman, who were the two people behind the ride. And they take me back and they showed me the dream catching machine with Dreamfinder and Figment. The whole thing was set up on sawhorses and had just been programmed. And they pushed a button, and I saw the whole opening scene of the ride. First person to see it. And then they took me back in an office and sat me down and told me everything about where the character came from, what he represented, who inspired him. He was based on the guy who used to host The Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights. And they told me about the search for Figment's voice and everything they'd been through with the character. So I had all that going for me. Then I went to Sonny and said, can I do the character? They said, yep. And that's how I got the job. And yes, so I had it straight from the horse's mouth. And did 5 years with the character and just had a wonderful, wonderful time.
And as I'm watching comments go by, people are saying that they remember meeting Dreamfinder. They remember, watching their kids meeting, the Dreamfinder. So he was there for 5 years. So he was as soon as the attraction opened in October '83?
No. I was there from October 1st till summer of '87. The ride opened March 5th of 1983. But we were there from the beginning. I was the only one there for like the first 6-7 weeks. And then they hired a fellow named Steve Taylor, who wound up lasting the full 15 years. Okay. And he has the scars to prove it, really.
Well, because then at one point, Dreamfinder wasn't there, and they had this very large iteration of Figment.
That was after the ride changed.
Yeah.
When everyone complained there was no Figment, they brought out Figzilla, the 8-foot-tall version of Figment,
which I never got. I was used to seeing this tiny little dragon. All of a sudden, I think Figzilla is a great way to put it.
That's what he was called. And but that was long after Dreamfinder was gone. But there was Dreamfinder was there from 1982 to 1998.
And I remember when it happened, and I think we talked about this. Again, I said, Ron was a guest on the show, I think episode 16, somewhere around there, was they made a very conscious decision to sort of cut Dreamfinder. Like, I think, to use your words, and I wish I would have gone back and listened, like, I think that they told you, like, Dreamfinder is dead, like, which is what they don't ever say, nothing is ever dead at Disney. Dreamfinder was, he was history like the Aztecs.
That conversation was, I heard was held. I heard there was an executive who, in a big meeting, said, "I hate that dragon." Basically, we had gone through a couple of different management teams. Eisner was the one who, and I think it was '84, said we need to have Mickey at Epcot. And so the other characters came in.
Put him in a spacesuit and get him out there.
Yeah. And I can see, his apparently, the way I heard it, Mr. Eisner's son wanted a Mickey Mouse hat, and they didn't sell those at Epcot. And when they told Mike, he said, "You do now." And so there you go. I don't think any animosity towards Dreamfinder was not the reason he was taken out of the ride. The ride was changed because the contract with Kodak was up, and Kodak wasn't doing very well because of the advent of digital photography, which, interestingly enough, the first time Kodak had anything to do with digital photography was at the picture taking at the end of her Journey into Imagination.
Oh. Right.
When they put in the computers taking your pictures, the first time they did that in a ride.
Yeah.
And Kodak was dead set against it. That's why you couldn't buy the picture when you got off the ride. And it was a major thing. They had they would take your picture just before the end of the ride, and then it would be held in one of 8 giant cabinets backstage, and it would cycle through, put your picture up, then that would be erased, and another one would be taken. But these things were massive to contain the pictures. But Kodak wasn't a big fan at the time, and sure enough, that's what.
And look at Kodak today. So,
yeah,
right. If you don't innovate, you die. Obviously, but it's interesting because there was this time where Dreamfinder was gone, and Figment was. He was still in the attraction, but certainly not in the same way. I mean,
he wasn't in the attraction at all. He was just the meet and greet.
Yeah.
Yes. And he was in the merchandise. Let us not forget the merchandise that kept the dragon alive.
But in recent years, there's been this, and I still remember the first time, and I think it was during one of the festivals, that I started to see little bits of Figment being present in a topiary, in merchandising, and now all of a sudden, years later, Figment is once again sort of the unofficial mascot, I think, of Epcot Center, and he is, thankfully so, he's everywhere. And there's this renewed interest and fascination in the character, not just in adults that grew up with him, but young kids. He's in Dreamfinder is back in comic book form. What do you think about sort of this this Figment renaissance?
this offhand renaissance. Well, characters have always been fondly remembered, and primarily, I believe, because of the wonderful job Tony Baxter did in creating the ride and the story, the relationship between the two characters, which has changed in the ride now. The ride as we have it now, Figment is treated like a pest, but he was so loved, and you came to identify with him. You were there when he was born in the original ride, and so it stuck with people. You know, I think I find that most people now have no memory of Dreamfinder, but they sure love Figment. Because he's more of a Warner Brothers character than a Disney character. He's not all circles. He's very angular, and he's mischievous, and so he's stuck with people. And when the Marvel people, Jim Zub especially, is the fellow who wrote the comic book, came and said, "Let's do something with this character." And Jim Zub went to the Imagineers and went to Tony Baxter, and captured what the character really was originally. And so the comic books are a wonderful continuation of that original iteration. So now we've got, who's the new creative head of Imagineering? From Brad Bird. Mm-hmm. Brad Bird, we were talking to him about putting the Inside Out characters in Imagination, and Brad Bird said to the company, "Why wouldn't you use Figment?" So now he's back. We're back in the mix. God alone knows if it's ever going to show up again. We bring in Marvel, we bring in Muppets, we bring in Lucasfilm, and so I keep picturing the idea of redoing Imagination being shoved down in the hierarchy. But the last I heard, sometime in 2025, you might see some action over at that pavilion.
Well, you know, if you look at the attraction now, which admittedly is probably not the biggest draw in the park,
No.
And the post-show area, which at one time, and I mean, first of all, upstairs was one of my favorite. I think probably was my favorite part of Epcot. The rainbow tunnel and the pin table, and what was the where you could paint with
the magic
Dreamfinder?
palette?
Yeah, where you could paint with Dream. I mean, again, the technology at the time, but now what's left on the post-show area is really a shell. I mean, there's not much there, which to me means just wait something else is coming. We haven't put anything in here because we're working on something that's bigger and better than just putting something in here temporarily. And it might just be wishful thinking on my part because I'm a hopeless romantic.
Somewhere between those two realities, yes. I mean, it's too big and shiny a building not to put something wonderful in it.
Yeah.
And the idea of the idea of the story is, I mean, imagination is central to everything Disney does. But especially if whatever's left of the original Epcot Center was all about imagination. And there's still a lot of that there. Anything they build is going to come from imagination. And it's such a perfect attraction for kids. But the parents loved it too, so...
Yeah. People are saying they had a tough time getting their kids to leave. They still are talking about how they have the original Figment plushes and Figment banks and the Figment merchandise that they had from when they were a kid. And as... someone who loved, when Epcot opened, I was fascinated by the technology. I was fascinated by that sense of not edutainment, but inspiration that I got from it. And I always felt as a kid that Figment, the imagination attraction, was the one that resonated with me the most because it was this wonderful combination of technology and whimsy and inspiration and all those things that, again, we hadn't seen anywhere else. Certainly in that park, and even here in Magic Kingdom, it was such a unique. It's still, I mean, not the same, but it even in its original iteration, was such a unique attraction.
It was the way that it reached out to you, the way that there's so much about that ride that was unique. The turntable scene where they stopped. It seemed that they stopped the ride, and you flew alongside Dreamfinder and the dream catching machine, and he could talk to you. This is one of the things that. Tony Baxter went into when we had that first meeting. He said we needed to stop the ride. We needed to talk about imagination. We couldn't do that while we were moving. You can't, in most of these rides, you can't tell the story, a linear story, and you had to in this ride. And so they came up with the idea. It was based on the way film moved through a projector. The way a film moves with sprockets and then it meets a gear, and it travels around the gear. And they were looking at that, and they said, that's the way we'll stop the ride. We won't stop the ride. We'll make it look like we stopped the ride. And the result is this wonderful 7-minute scene, more like actually 4 minutes, where they could talk to you and put across the idea and then expand upon it through the rest of the attraction.
And what people don't realize in the current version is how much of the original attraction track was cut. Right? It's 40-50% of the original attraction was cut down for the second iteration, which is obviously the same track layout we have now.
Yeah, if you go online and do a search for Imagination Ride layout, you'll see a breakaway of the building, and it shows what the original track was like and what it looks like, what they're using of it now. Yeah.
I saw people saying that they wish that they could bring back that, because I think that the original would stand the test of time, not just because of, again, each room had such a unique message and feel and story that I told. I still remember the Avalanche room and the
realm of literature. There was the realm of art, performing arts. What about science and technology? And then there was the image section, which was about photography and cameras and like that. So you had those 5 realms. And then the sparks that were collected in the first scene were used in those realms. And I found a lot of people have no idea that there was that storyline.
Right.
They just thought, wow, this is really trippy. But there was this storyline that if you wrote it enough, you could see and you could follow. And there was this message underlying the whole thing.
And I think part of what made the attraction so beloved was not just, it was this wonderful blend of the characters and the technology and the story and the visuals, and certainly credit has to be given to the Sherman Brothers for a song that still remains incredibly popular.
Yeah, everything came together with that ride like nobody's business, and it was hairy putting it together. One of the things about the reason I know the ride so well is it wasn't open for those first 5 months that Epcot was open. I walked the ride every single day. When between sets of working out there with the dragon, I would go in and I would walk the track because I grew up at Disneyland. Just give me an opportunity to walk a track, for gosh sakes. And so I got to watch the whole thing being put together. And it was just a masterpiece for Tony Baxter and everyone at WED.
Well, I think that's what made the Dreamfinder character endearing too, was you come from a place of, obviously with such a long history of not just working in the theme park industry, but just having such a love and personal affinity for it as well. It really shines through in the character. But I have to imagine, meeting countless thousands of kids and families over the years, there probably is a funny story or two that you remember from some of Dreamfinder's interactions with these kids.
No, there isn't.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. There was
nothing ever happened.
It's a show about nothing, like this. It's a show. It's like Seinfeld.
Kids would sometimes ask if they could pull my beard, and I thought to myself, well, if you say no, that's admitting that it's a fake beard. So I said yes. Yeah, go ahead. And the kid's head would come up. They get up around here, and I go, ow! And they go, oh. Like that. Except one time. I said, yeah, you can pull the beard. And the kid reached up and I went, ow! And he grabbed the beard, and he pulled it down. And I had these elastic straps that went up underneath the wig, and the mustache is hanging there, and everybody's looking. I said, okay, you can let go now. And the thing came up over my face like this. And I pulled it back down over my chin and went on about my business. I would occasionally I'd be kneeling down talking to a child, and I'd get goosed. Strangely enough, usually I'd turn and look, and there would be some guys on leave from the Orlando Naval Base. So yes, Lou, there were these things that happened.
Somebody said it was probably Lou who pulled on the beard. I promise I was very kind to Dreamfinder when I met him. I looked, before today, I actually was trying to do a search to see if I could find pictures of, at least the ones that I had scanned, of me as a kid, because I remember meeting, I guess it was you, like meeting Dreamfinder as a kid and just, again, wanting to spend all my time in Epcot Center. And, you know, as I say that, I think, again, we're talking about sort of this, not this ongoing, just this ongoing love for these characters, but a number of years ago, I guess it was at a Destination D here when, right, was it Destination D or D23 Expo when Dreamfinder made a surprise appearance on stage with Richard?
2011. The characters have been gone since 1998. I was having lunch in 2010 in California with a fellow who worked for D23, and we're talking, and he says, we want to bring back the Dreamfinder for the 40th anniversary. We're going to do a big concert at the Contemporary Hotel, and we want to bring back the Dreamfinder and surprise Richard Sherman and everybody. And I said, it'll never happen. There's no way they're going to let you bring back the Dreamfinder.
Why? Why did you not think he would be able to come back?
Because the character had been gone at that point for 12 years, and nobody had ever knocked on my door up to that point, or anybody else's. The parting was a little acrimonious in 1998. And so I thought, no, there's no way they're going to put together the costume and the dragon and all this stuff. And but this guy was determined, and he found a guy in Miami Beach who could fake the costume. I sent him a bunch of pictures, and one of the Dreamfinders, one of the old Dreamfinders, had managed to make off with a dragon back in the 80s. And so I called him up and said, listen, can I borrow the dragon? He goes, yeah, sure. So he sent me that, and we put this thing together. Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew about it. The stage manager, the day we did it, and Richard Sherman and Tim O'Day, who was handling Richard. The only people who knew what we were up to. And I showed up. And by the way, this story is told in extreme detail in my book.
I was like, where could they learn more about stories of?
Well, as a matter of fact, Lou, the book is called From Dreamer to Dreamfinder, a life and lessons learned in 40 years behind a name tag. End of plug. So
I was going to bring mine with me, but it's the only one that I know, but it's the only one that I have, and you signed it to me, so I was like, I need to keep it hermetically sealed in a vault at home.
Oh yeah. But you should go on Amazon. So I showed up at this thing and walk out on stage. 2,000 people in this place who had no idea what was happening. Jump up. They're rushing towards the stage. Women are crying. The front row was Tony Baxter and Bob Gurr and Marty Sklar and all the people who built the parks are there. And it was amazing. And we sang One Little Spark with Richard Sherman. And
the place lost its collective marbles.
It was amazing.
I was there and I saw it. And it was not only was it a surprise, but it was one of those, look at who is up on stage, all at the same time. And the welling of emotion, of the flooding of memories and joyful tears was a special thing. Somebody asked, is there video? I'm sure there's video on YouTube.
As a matter of fact, yes. I had a friend who was working for the company at the time, and he was working that day at the show. His job was to make sure that nobody videotaped the show. He was there to make sure no one was taking pictures or videotaping the show. I came walking on stage. This guy whipped out his phone and started filming. So if you go on YouTube, search for Dreamfinder D23, you'll find it. Yeah. It's there. Yeah. I've watched it a couple times.
It was a special thing to be in that room when it happened.
It was just after that when I saw the response online after he posted the video. That's one of the things that got me to write the book. Made me realize I needed to write the book.
Well, which also makes me think, because of that type of response, it's indicative of a more global feeling about the character. And again, we're seeing Figment in merchandise. We're seeing him as sort of the mascot of Festival of the Arts, obviously, and even some of the other festivals as well. I feel like, and maybe it's wishful thinking, that the handwriting is on the wall, that there is something more for Figment that is to come soon. Because I was convinced after last D23 Expo, as they announced all the changes to Epcot, we noticed that Imagination...
There was the model.
And there was no mention of Imagination. And I'm like, okay, I get the strategy. They don't want this to get lost. They don't want the impact of this to get lost in everything they're announcing here. They're going to save this for Destination D when it comes back to Walt Disney World and blow the minds off of the local people who have probably even a closer connection to it. Again, thanks COVID for everything that's happened since then, but I still believe that. Ron,
It's one of the great side effects of being as positive a guy as you are.
I'm not going to give up hope.
When you look for the good in people, you take a microscope to these things. I am also convinced that somewhere behind locked doors in Glendale, there is a hell of a ride, maybe 2 or 3, that are sitting on the shelf somewhere. Yeah, it's too good an idea, it's too good a concept for Epcot not to do something with it someday. And as long as people like Brad Bird are alive, and the people who are inspired to work at Imagineering are fans like you and I are, something's going to pop up. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm convinced, yeah.
And they don't have to license it from anybody either. We already own it. So if they came to you and said, Ron, you are the Dreamfinder, what should we do? What should we include in this attraction? What sort of input would you give in terms of what you'd like to see happen or return to a new iteration of it?
Well, everybody, all from Imagineering, turn your TV off at this point, okay? Because you're not allowed to listen to this. I spent some time thinking about this because I've been asked a lot of times. In the first ride, in the original ride, Dreamfinder is flying in the dream catching machine, collecting sparks of inspiration. which he then uses in different realms of creativity. Okay? You take the ride vehicle from Journey to the Center of the Earth, in Tokyo.
Which is spectacular.
You got this little bus, where people are sitting, looking out the sides. You put people in there, you give them cannons that can suck up sparks of inspiration. They're flying the dream catching machine. See? They're going through the sky now. They're aiming the cannons, sucking up random ideas that are in their visuals, and then we fly them back through the realm of literature, of art, through image technology, science, and they fire those ideas at the different inspirations and create something new on the ride. This is the same story, but now the guest is the star.
Those people were sitting at that other table and they were watching.
Yes.
They were watching the video while they were watching.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Bye. Thanks for leaving. Thanks for coming. Then leaving.
Well, and I love it because that's, in 2020 and beyond, that's where we are in terms of wanting not just passive experiences. We want something that truly is interactive and allowing us to partially play the role of storyteller and story creator too. And if you give people at least the sensation and the feeling that the actions that they're taking on the ride are impacting the outcome of their story, then also you have the rewritability factor sort of going through the roof.
That's what a theme park is. The theme park is not something that you watch, it's something that you experience. The product of a themed entertainment is not the architecture, it's not the food, it's not the music, it's not the rides. It's your experience of the rides and the food and the architecture. And our product is that guest experience. The medium is the guest. And so it only makes sense that anything we do with the ride would put you center stage and make you the Dreamfinder, which is what the original ride was anyway. That was the point of the original ride.
That's really smart. As much as I want to see Dreamfinder come back, I do.
Oh,
I want
definitely.
to see the character come back.
You should be there saying, step out to your left. Your car and the platform are traveling at the same speed.
Although the Dreamfinder in the comic looked a lot different than the Dreamfinder.
Well, I had been dieting at that point. I had been slimming down. I had a tummy tuck, and when I posed for those. But since then, I've let myself go.
And by the way, if you have a question for Ron,
yes.
Please feel free to post it here as well. So you mentioned Tokyo. Have you been to the other parks, international parks?
I've only been to Paris.
Okay.
I've been to Paris, which I loved. It was beautiful. And Paris and Disneyland is my home. I miss that terribly.
So of all the Disney parks and the attractions that you've experienced, what do you think, I'll put it this way.
Okay.
We all always talk about what Walt would think, what would Walt, and we don't really know. But if Walt appeared in front of us right now, not only would we have a coronary, but if you could take Walt one place and show him one thing, attraction, show, land, whatever it be, where would you take him and why?
I take him to YouTube to show him Walt's frozen head. You knew that was coming, didn't you?
A little bit. I sort of set that one up, but let me rephrase that.
Yes.
I was a very bad lawyer. I did not frame my questions appropriately. Where in the Disney theme park?
Yes.
Yes. Would you take Walt?
I see what you mean. Well, gosh. Probably I'd take him to Adventure.
Why?
I would want him to see. See, if you took him on Rise of the Resistance, you wouldn't know what he was seeing. You took him on Flight of Passage, he'd probably curl up in a ball, sit in the corner and whimper. It's overwhelming. But American Adventure is such a forward step from what he knew. I mean, here I'm dealing with this in a very realistic way. Right. I'm trying to.
And obviously, we all know of Walt's patriotism too. So I think you would love to see it just from a personal perspective.
I would take him on Fast and Furious.
No, you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't.
No, you would
no,
not.
I wouldn't.
I would not allow that. Spider-Man, you can take him
Spider-Man, take him on Spider-Man.
Take him on Spider-Man.
No, I think because he had, I don't know if he had an inkling of American Adventure coming up. You know, there's a book called Waking Walt. Have you ever seen or heard of this?
I have it. I've never actually gotten around to reading it yet.
Oh, you've got to. Because in the book, he goes to Epcot Center, and he sees American Adventure. Maybe that's where I got the idea.
Which I think for a lot of people, you know, I think Epcot's almost like the easy answer, you know, because...
That was his baby.
Although some people are concerned, would he potentially not like what this version of Epcot is versus the one that he had in his brain on his deathbed? We don't know how different they might be.
Well, remember, he wanted to do that industrial park. And really, that's, I think, what his Future World turned into was a version of an industrial park. You went through displays from the big companies, and you cover up your nose and your mouth, and you wash your hands. And that's the future. So I think he would have like Epcot a lot. No, I think that given enough time, you know, give him a couple of weeks, he could see the whole thing, and I think he'd be very pleased with most of it. Not right today, but.
So somebody asked, there was a couple questions,
yes.
And I think Jim asked, would you be, if Disney said to you, hey, we would love for you
I'm too old
to don the costume again, and
I'm not in any shape. No, I thank you. Now, they would never have to ask me twice to come in and have a hand in it, and teach other people to respect the character and use the character for its full potential, and not just pose for pictures and sign autographs, because it's too good a character for that. There's too much there, and he can be every bit as effective as me as taking the ride. But doing it myself, I'll do the voice, but that's about it.
Somebody asked if you still have the original costume, and do you have any souvenirs from the attraction or any Figment merchandise of your own that you treasure?
I got a fair collection of Figment merchandise. I recently spent a couple months in the hospital, and I got a sleeping Figment one day, and I got the new baby Figment, the plush that came out here, and I got this Figment that sits on my shoulder now. You can get one of these.
We need to get you a new magnet.
Yes, the magnet. I lost the magnet. The first time I used it, I lost the magnet. I got some pins like that, but I lived with that damn dragon for 5 years. If I want to have Figment next to me, all I have to do is thrust my elbow painfully forward, crook my thumb down, and I can feel him there, as a matter of fact.
Fred wants to know, and I don't know who this is, do you know Tommy Walker?
Tommy Walker is a Disney legend long before I came to the company. He was the man who invented the entertainment at Disneyland. Okay. His father was Vichy Walker, who was the leader of the Disneyland band when it was created. So no, I never met Tommy, but I know of him.
Jamie says she loves you, Ron.
She does.
I think a lot of people love you. Jamie's just the only one who's actually come out and said it.
Yeah, that's not my Jamie, but I'll take it. Thank you.
Do you get people even now, like when you're out, recognizing you? Like these ladies keep looking over. I mean, they're our friends, but they keep looking over like, is that Dreamfinder? Is that the Dreamfinder?
I think part of it is because we're in the pants optional area. But as a matter of fact, I was rolling through the park today with my mask on, and somebody went, "Hi, Ron." Yeah, I get recognized. And then they have the children with them. They say, "Hey, this is the Dreamfinder," and the kids have no idea who the heck I am.
Well, that's bad parenting right there.
Exactly.
If they're not taking if they are not showing their kids the original and really the only good, I remember the sadness that I remember walking out of that second awful iteration, going, what, to my dad, like, where's Figment? Like, what? Did I miss something? Like, Dad, like, Figment wasn't in the ride. Like, we almost couldn't believe, like, what did they do? And I understand what the thought process was, but it was a sad day. It was a sad day in Epcot Center.
I've heard this story a couple times.
I'm sure. Again, a lot of people ask about your fondest memories. people agreeing with you that they think Walt would love American Adventure. A bunch of people were asking me, what are you doing? What are you doing now, Ron? I don't mean right this very moment, but just, what's going on in Ron's world in general?
I do voiceover work occasionally. I do plays. I've done some online Zoom plays with a group called Playwrights Roundtable. And I got a project working. Keep your eye on YouTube the next couple of months. Something's coming up.
You've always got... And look, I love seeing this. So Brian Scala says, it's wonderful to see you again. Thanks for being such a wonderful part of my childhood. Like, how does it make you feel knowing that that breathed life into this character, with unscripted, had that much of a positive ripple impact literally decades later on people?
In the 1970s, when I first started to dream about a career doing this kind of performance, there's a wonderful fellow by the name of Alan Watts who talks about Eastern philosophies, and but he lectures about Eastern philosophy for Western minds, and he talks about how all of life, all of reality it's a dance that energy is doing. We're all made of star stuff. We're all just molecules vibrating at different patterns, and one person in their life can't hope to make that much of a difference. It's like waves on the ocean. It's just endless. But the way to make a difference in this world is to be a part of a larger wave. You are a perfect example. You have sent out ripples for days. You're like this boulder in the ocean. I don't know if you've ever heard this simile before. I became inspired by the Golden Horseshoe Review. It's a show that ran from 1955 to 1986. 5 and 10 shows a day. I wanted to be a part of that wave and carried that tradition forward. With everything that I've done in my career, I've always moved towards impacting people's lives in imaginative ways. Dreamfinder was a part of that. It wasn't the be-all and end-all. I've gotten to do a lot of different jobs. Usually I last 5 or 6 years in a job. I learn everything I can, but then I want to move on and do something else in a new aspect of this particular art form. So when I got to get up on stage with the Golden Horseshoe for the first time in my life and use my real name, that was a big deal. When I think about all the people who took my picture posing with a lion back in 1972 at Magic Mountain, I'm in books all over the world. All the people who I got to touch as Dreamfinder, and the people I've mentored, it's the most wonderful feeling in the world. It's the reason I wrote the book.
And there's countless people whose lives and children's lives you have impacted that you just don't even know about because they just don't, never would. So Cody asked a question. He says, "Ron, will you tell the story about the Dreamfinder stage show you planned for Epcot, and did you have any input in the Figment educational shorts?" Do you mean the purple potato?
The purple potato! I'm very proud to say I had nothing to do with those cartoons. But when I first started researching creativity and imagination, before I had started doing the job, I found a book called Creative Dramatics about improvisational storytelling with kids. And I took one look at this thing and I said, this is a great idea for a show. We could do a live show where you would get a bunch of kids together and improvise a story, and they would help you act it out. And I put together a proposal to the people who ran Epcot. I wanted to take this one section of Communicore that wasn't being used, and I wanted to build a meadow inside with a tree stump in the middle of it. And the tree stump, up from the tree stump would come Figment, and I would sit there in the middle of the room in this big, grassy, soft foam area, surrounded by kids, and we would tell stories to entertain Figment. And the kids and I would make the stories up. And I proposed this idea. I said we could do 3 or 4 shows a day, and they were kind enough to take that idea and blow it way up. We try to make a TV series out of it with cartoons and puppets and real kids and a flying machine. And we spent like a couple $1,000 on miniatures, and storyboards. And I sat there listening to this thing, and I went, no, it's not, the message is not, no. And so we put together this whole big presentation, presented it to Michael Eisner, and he went, it's too big. And that was it. I mean, the characters had such amazing potential. My dream was to take Dreamfinder and Figment and give them a presence in World Showcase. Let Figment be the ambassador for the kids to the countries. I mean, they opened the Kid Cot things, the crafts areas. I said, but that should have been, Figment should have been opening the door for that. I wanted to do a storyteller album where Figment escapes from imagination and Dreamfinder has to go chasing him around World Showcase. And that way, Figment would learn about the countries, the kids would learn about the countries, and would be a treasure hunt in the book, blah, blah, blah. But it was not to be.
Well, hopefully somebody's listening and they make that happen.
I want my nickel.
Face coverings must fully cover your nose and mouth.
Figment face coverings? You can make Figment face coverings? The merchandising would be huge.
See, everybody just needs to walk around like this.
Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing.
Do you miss them? Do you miss those? Do you miss sort of the...
I miss Figment. I miss having... The two things I miss are having Figment next to me, having that spirit, and the kids' faces. It was... I mean, look at this. This is no substitution.
People are asking about...
Yes.
Again, it shows how much... The questions that we're getting in such a wide spectrum shows how much they care about you and this character. So they want to know... A few people were asking about the current plans and this transformation that's going on right now in Epcot, taking maybe a little bit longer than we had originally hoped, but this movement into the next chapter and phase in the future while still keeping what appears to be one foot firmly planted in the past. What do you think, assuming that everything that was on those D23 drawing boards is actually going to happen? What are your thoughts?
Epcot will never be, no matter how many thrill rides they put in, it'll never be the Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is the Magic Kingdom. Epcot is a more contemporary park. It's not timeless. No, the Magic Kingdom is timeless. Epcot is really a more contemporary park. They'll put in timeless attractions, but I think there's room enough for both. Yes, it isn't as dry as it once was. I mean, it took a lot of guts for Card Walker and Don Tatum to say to Marty Sklar, okay, if you want to build a park with no Mickey Mouse in it, here's the money. That took a lot of guts. And there was a purity there. There was a mission there that people responded to a certain extent. There were people who were disappointed there was no Mickey Mouse, definitely. I think that the stereotypical, pervasive, oh no, they shouldn't ever change anything at all, ever. No way, please. They've ruined my childhood when they took out Maelstrom.
Because
yes.
everybody loved the oil rig. The oil rig was huge. I have so much oil rig merchandise at home. I have like an entire shrine, Figment on one side and the oil derrick on the other.
I'd slap you except for the razor burn.
I shaved like 5 minutes ago.
I know you did. I watched it. So people are always going to complain, oh, it's not Epcot anymore. And it's not the city that wanted, blah, blah, blah. Really, paying customers do not own this park. All we ever know is what we've seen. You scratch a Disney fan, all they want is Mr. Toad to come back. Because they've seen Mr. Toad, and they want Mr. Toad.
I would prefer 20,000 Leagues to come back.
Exactly. Thank you for poisoning my point.
Thanks for being rational and saying 20,000 Leagues.
Yeah. I don't want Dreamfinder to come back simply because I saw what they did with Figment when they brought him back. Not to say it couldn't be done right, But
Could he come back?
Wary.
Can Dreamfinder come back, whether it's a more comic book iteration of him or even,
Dreamfinder doesn't have to be fat. He doesn't have to be that character.
Fat's a harsh term. Cuddly.
Cuddly, that's right. And boy, have I become cuddly.
I got a lot of cuddle.
Look at the video on YouTube of me in 2011. That's some major cuddles there.
You can just search for that too, Dreamfinder major cuddles, and you'll get a very different video, I'm sure.
Dreamfinder is not any of the physical manifestation. He's an idea. He always has been. And that's what made him precious. That's what made him memorable. And so he can look like anything. He can do anything. He can be anything. That's what being the Dreamfinder is the possibility to be anything. And so I'm not worried about them getting the voice right or the look right. I'm worried about the spirit of the character and him carrying that message because that's what Walt was about when he built the parks. That's what Tony Baxter was about when he designed the ride. And that's what theme parks need to be about. They need to be about something in you, something that you can respond to. And Dreamfinder was at one point a lovely example of that.
I think the world can use a little bit more Dreamfinder and Figment in it, more than ever. So,
yeah, I'm as much Dreamfinder as I'm going to be. Thank you.
I saw somebody else asked, and I'm not sure if I asked you this already. Do you have favorite attractions in the parks, or ones that just you rode and just sort of blew you away, just from a theme park enthusiast perspective?
Tower of Terror, I think, is absolutely brilliant. Horizons was wonderful.
I say this all the time. Horizons Adventurers Club, it's like the ex-girlfriend, meaning you don't really love her until she says she's leaving you. They're like, oh, no, you're my favorite, please don't go. Horizons never had a line, and then all of a sudden everybody wishes Horizons would come back.
Well, first of all, Horizons was one of those rare perfect attractions. It was a people eater, so there was never a line. The ride system was brilliant and comfortable. There was all these visuals. It was long, told a great story, had many wonderful surprises in it. I would get off work I put the Dragon away and go ride Horizons. I loved it. As much as I hate puns, Kitchen Cabaret always entertained me.
How'd that song go again?
I don't know. I don't remember. Who remembers?
I'm going to get him to sing, and I'm going to get him to do the voice. Don't worry.
What? Oh, you want the imagination ride?
Oh, come on. How can we not?
Figment and I have enjoyed our journey into imagination with you. Now leave me the hell alone.
I still kept to this day. Oh, I wish I could get it on my phone. You either left me like a voicemail or something years ago, and you're like, and I'm not going to do a bad Dreamfinder impression, but you're like, this is the Dreamfinder, and I'm out of work, and I'm looking for work, and if you're looking for me, I'll be working on I-4 and like pumping gas or
You
something.
do that better than a couple of the Dreamfinders did, actually.
Hello there, this is the Dreamfinder, your unemployed host of the old Journey into Imagination. If you have any work, please get back to me, but in the meantime, you're listening to WDW Radio.
They get it right a lot. Of course, I will never be able to ride a Flight of Passage because now they build rides that I can't ride. I hope to ride Rise of the Resistance someday instead of just watch the videos.
Don't watch the videos.
I have to.
You can't
because God knows if I'm ever going to get to ride the thing. So no, I have to. Yeah, I take it you haven't watched Beauty and the Beast yet.
I have not. I refuse to watch anything until I see it with my own eyes.
I admire you.
It's difficult to do, but when I did go to Tokyo for the first time, when I saw Pirates in Shanghai for the first time, and I was my mouth was agape at what I saw. Tokyo is remarkable in every sense of the word.
If it wasn't for people like Jeff Lang and Big Fat Panda and Martin Smith, I would have no idea what was going on in the parks at all. I mean, I'm not that mobile, first of all, and second of all, I don't have the funds to do the traveling. Send your donations to Dreamfinder at yahoo.com.
It's actually Dreamfinder and Lou go to Japan.kickstarter.com, because that's the one where
That's the one, yeah.
The two of us. I'll be your guide. I'll help guide you through, only because I've been there. It's Tokyo Disneyland, Tokyo Disney Sea specifically, is what happens when you go to Imagineering and go, here's all the money that you want, have at it. Knock yourself out. You want to do a Jules Verne? Do you want to do 20,000 Leagues? Journey to the Center of the Earth? Monster? Knock yourself out.
Hello, give kids the world. Hello, give fat Jews the world.
And some of the best food you'll find in any park anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Favorite place Dreamfinder likes to eat in Disney World?
Coral Reef. I love Coral Reef. Just the lobster bisque. I'm a sucker for a good lobster bisque.
Yeah, you like lobster bisque?
Ooh.
This is not a plug, but it's a plug. Have you been to the boathouse yet?
No.
What? Gee, Ron Schneider. My God, man!
I have to rent a wheelchair when I go there.
Listen, I'll make a deal with you. You rent the scooter, I'll take you to Boathouse. That lobster bisque is going to, not that you're wearing socks. If you was wearing socks, it would knock your socks off. I mean, you can't order anything else. Just lobster bisque and a side order of water, and that's it. Because I'm on a fixed budget. Tammy had lunch at Coral Reef yesterday.
Yeah. Did you mention my name? No.
Mention Ron's name. They add 10% to your bill. Devin says we should be doing this live from the boathouse. Yeah, we're gonna make Boathouse happen.
What was the true size of Figment? It depends which one you're talking about. The one in the ride was taller than the puppet. It was more lizard-like. Just like all Disney characters, when they put them in merchandising, the proportions change to suit whatever they're doing. Figment had to fit a human arm, which he barely did, as a matter of fact.
Let me see, how cool do you get a voicemail from Dreamfinder? A lot of people, when you did the voice, they lost their collective mind. Like hearing that voice once again brings back a lot of good memories for people. Doesn't that make you feel good? Like, when you get to be my age, I think you'll think about this more, but you start to think about words like legacy and what you leave behind and the impact, hopefully positive, that you've left on the world behind you. Do you think about, do you sit back in your chair at night, lick the Dorito dust off your fingers and go, look at what I've left behind. Forget the other roles that you've had, but just from that one role for those few years?
The vast majority of my life is spent sitting back, except the main difference is Cheetos. It's Cheetos.
Same thing, yeah. It's the same orange dust.
Yeah, same orange dust. Yeah, definitely. That's really the greatest satisfaction I've got, is being able to look back. I did 40 years of it, and the people that I've been able to influence and entertain. My friend Dan Caro was working on a German theme park, their big Halloween promotion, and he met with a guy who runs their entertainment. And the guy's got my book on his desk, and he says that I refer to my book all the time. It makes the whole thing worth it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people, and I'm watching people talk about their memories and the gratitude that they have for you, not just being here today, but for the joy that you've brought to them for so many years.
Ditto. It's mutual, folks. You've given this old man a wonderful gift.
You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to buy a copy of From Dreamers to Dreamfinder, and I'm gonna make you sign it, or I'll forge your name. Same thing. It wouldn't be the first time I forged your name, just so you know. But I'll get you to sign it, and maybe I'll give one away as a prize.
Wonderful.
Right. Win a date with Ron Schneider. That's taking it too
We've
far.
done that before. No, we've done that before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Win a date with the Dreamfinder?
Yes. My pal Josh Young, with whom I created the Theme Park University website, we did a contest, and these two lovely ladies won lunch with me and Josh, We went to the Trail's End.
Oh,
for
that's
lunch.
good eating right there.
Yep. And I think we gave them books. And one of them works at Universal and Universal Creative, as a matter of fact. Yeah, we've done that.
Wow, maybe we'll do it. Wait, maybe we'll combine it. Maybe
Yes.
we'll do like win a date with Dreamfinder, and me and you and the lucky or unlucky winner will go to the boathouse together. You
Wonderful.
get lobster bisque, they get a date with the Dreamfinder,
And
I
Lou
get
gets
stuff
the
in the
bill.
check.
Great minds.
Wait a minute, this is the worst idea. That was
Great
the
minds
stupidest
think
idea
alike.
I've ever had.
Set it up. I'll
Maybe-
be there with I'll bring a copy of the book.
Oh, well, if it's a free book, then yeah, now all of a sudden everybody's in. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm in. Let's see, I kept on seeing a number of comments going by, and I want to make sure we... somebody said that is upset his wife missed it. This will be available on the replay, and maybe I'll pull the audio and I'll pop it into the podcast as well. Thank you, Ron. My members of Dreamfinders are such happy ones. Carrie and is echoing the sentiments that I keep seeing over and over again. Walt Disney would put Dreamfinder in the new Figment ride instead of the current host. I think everybody would.
Yeah.
Like, no offense to Eric Idle. Like, awesome, Monty Python, great, but it's not our... I love you in Figment, and why Tony Baxter is my favorite Imagineer.
Here.
Just a lot of love for... So, Jim says, would you do anything different? Looking back, other than this interview right here, right now, would you do anything? Would you make any other different choices?
No. I would. I've been so lucky to be born when I was born, so that I was just the right age to be at Disneyland when it opened, Magic Mountain when it opened, Epcot when it opened, through the Golden Horseshoe, all of it. I've just been amazingly lucky. I would not change a damn thing, except maybe I'd like to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know who's lucky? This guy. Because I think we're friends. Can I say we're friends? Just say yes, just for the camera.
Nobody's watching this,
Yeah,
right?
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
To be able to say that not only have I been able to enjoy what you gave to me, I'm getting choked up. Enjoy what you gave to me as a kid and my memories of riding that attraction with my family, and then taking my children to see it and watch the videos of it, and then you being so gracious to my family and to all of my friends today who are watching. I'm consider myself very, very fortunate and very blessed to know you, and I thank you so much for being here and sharing your time with us today.
Well, it's and all the people out there feel the same way about you. God knows that you are such a gift to the fan community and to anybody who loves Disney or Give Kids the World or all the wonderful work that you do. That they feel exactly the same way, buddy.
Well, thank you. So if people want to find your book, it's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. We got hardcover, soft cover. We got the digital. We got the audio. 9 hours of me talking.
Wait, you read the audiobook?
The whole way, 9
Shut
hours.
up.
That'll put you
No,
to
really,
sleep
no, shut
like
up,
nobody's business. Thank you.
Do you? I have to ask because I know they're thinking it. Do you throw a little Dreamfinder voice in there at all?
Yes, there's right at the beginning of the thing. I do one line of Dreamfinder voice.
Oh gosh, that's what everybody loves. People they
Where's
lost
the
their
money?
collective line. How could one pay for an autograph? You know what we're gonna do?
You buy me lunch. I give you a copy of the paperback with, and I sign it.
Wow.
You have to take me to Perkins for lunch.
Perkins, that's easy. Wait,
Yeah.
didn't we go to Perkins?
Probably. I milk this for everything I can get.
How did I sink myself into Boathouse when I could have gotten away with Perkins? You know what? When all this mask stuff is over and we get back to doing meetups and stuff again, we'll do an event or something together, and we'll have people come out and meet you. And I promise, I'll feed. Wait a minute, I'm going to feed you right now.
Oh yeah?
Right here, right now.
What possible thing could you feed me?
Thanks to my friend Jen Ginn
Yeah.
from Cult Cookies, and I know it's backward, but I promise that says Cult Cookies. There's something I want to show you, the viewers at home, that she made just for us. This is her limited edition, because there's no such thing as infinite cookies, unfortunately, but it is a limited run of original Epcot Center logo. Go for it, my man. Go grab your cookie. That one is all you.
Yay!
And not only do they look good, but they taste good too.
Just like candy.
There you go. And you can find her over at cultcustomcookies.com. I think she's only making a limited run of these Epcot ones that she makes at home by hand.
Nice.
She's been up very, very late in this past week making a lot of cookies. So, and those cookies are not meant to be shared. It's just for you.
Never been a problem for me.
Clearly. So, I will make sure I put a link that people can go and get your book. But it's From Dreamer to Dreamfinder, and as you know,
and also Walt's Frozen Head is on YouTube. The Further Adventures of Walt's Frozen Head, and I'm on Facebook, and like that.
And I think you hinted at, you got something else in the works.
Project coming up in a couple of months, I think.
When that happens, we'll do all this again. I'll ask you different questions.
Oh God, I hope so.
Yeah, because these were awful. He's Ron Schneider. He is one of the good ones. Classic, dare I say, legendary. Can you do us one last favor? Can you take us out with just a little bit of, and this is all you, man, with just a little bit of Dreamfinder?
Figment and I have enjoyed our journey to imagination with you. And now it's time for you to go and explore your own sparks of inspiration in the Imageworks, the creative playground of the future. There.
Ron Schneider. I love it. If it wasn't weird, I would hug him, but it's weird and COVID and all that kind of stuff. It's weird.
We'll hug after you're gone.
Listen, thank you so very much for watching. If you happen to be here in Magic Kingdom, I have not one, not two, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more cookies that I will give away. Come find me right here, right now at the Tomorrowland Terrace Noodle Station Relaxation. Come here, come over.
And get the...
There's actually somebody watching.
Grab a cookie.
Look, it's Darlene Nagy, formerly of West Seneca, New York. Do you know who this guy is?
I do, Ron Schneider.
It's the Dreamfinder.
Yay!
Do you have a question for the Dreamfinder? Anything you want to know? He'll answer anything. Anything.
Thank you for your
Not necessarily.
Favorite color?
Truthfully, yeah. That's it, as a matter of fact. Purple.
What made you become the Dreamfinder?
I think it started at about $13.50 an hour. And then it got up around $16, actually.
Wow.
$16 an hour.
A day?
No, an
hour. An hour? Woo. You're going to buy me. He's going to buy me Mojo.
Dreamfinder was at the time, the most expensive character they had out on set because the cost of the wigs, beards, mustaches, costumes, and maintenance on the dragon and paying me.
That wasn't your real beard? Can I pull it?
It was a rental.
Can I pull it? Oh.
So I told everybody, people say, "Is that your real beard?" I say, "No, it's a rental." So that's what made me become Dreamfinder. It was just a perfect character. There's an opportunity like that only comes once in a lifetime.
That's wonderful. I love Figment. It's one of my favorite characters.
You never had to work with him.
Oh, this is true. This is true.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of being the Dreamfinder?
It all really led up to this moment, right? I mean, that was really what you were really hoping for. Yeah.
Getting to. I'm sorry, I'm not that big a liar. At the kids, seeing the look on the kids' faces, and when I could get an adult to act like a kid, those are the best times. I've had a lot of the question I asked is what was my favorite of all the jobs I had, and each one of them had its own special thing going for it. But with Dreamfinder, it was the kids. Yeah. Have a cookie.
Pick a cookie. Go ahead before they all pick your favorite Epcot pavilion. Come have a cookie. Come on.
Horizons.
Oh, I knew Horizons was going to go fast.
Do you want to?
No. Listen, clearly this is a body that does not need very many more cookies. Wait, before you pick it, you've got to identify what all the remaining ones are. Which one is this?
Yeah.
Sing it. Come on.
Where the glow, feel the glow. of your learn the thing in your mother. Yeah.
That one's yellow. It's not the yellow pavilion.
The yellow pavilion. The Coward's Pavilion.
It's from the Making of Me pavilion. It's not
This is the Broken Pavilion.
It's Epcot's Broken Dream.
This is Shattered Earth.
Oh, too soon. Again, you can find these, and again, I think they're a very, very limited run at cultcustomcookies.com.
Have you told your story about Michael Jackson and some of the other stars that you got to?
I'll tell the Michael Jackson story.
That one's fun.
Okay, so I'm up in my break room. I have a beautiful dressing room upstairs, and I get a phone call saying Michael Jackson's downstairs and he wants to meet the Dreamfinder. Okay, so I throw on the dragon and I go downstairs. And I walk out into the garden area, and the whole thing's roped off. All of it. There's nobody there except Michael Jackson. And so I go over, and he's just charmed by us. And the night before, the Thriller video had debuted on MTV. And so I said, by the way, we saw the video, the new video. I said, really? And he took his sunglasses off. And my hand to God, there was a red patch and a green patch and a blue patch. He was all the colors of the rainbow. He said, didn't you think it was too dark? And I said, no, they wanted your eyes to pop out. He said, oh, okay. We found out later that when he would visit Epcot, he would use our dressing room as a place to hide out from the guests. So we redecorated. We took one of the big posters for Captain EO. We cut Captain EO's face and put Howard the Duck. And I just found a copy of it. It's online. There's a picture of it. You can see it online. But yeah, that's my Michael Jackson story.
Oh, that's too
He was very nice. Very, very nice.
I was hoping to do the Michael Jackson voice and do a little Mama Say, Mama Sa, Mama Kusa, but no.
No, that.
All right, listen. We have a lot of cookies to eat. Thank you again so very much for being here. Thanks, Ron Schneider. You are a good man, Charlie Brown. We very much appreciate you. Thank you very much for spending and sharing your day with us here in Magic Kingdom to celebrate Walt Disney World's 49th anniversary. Get out there. Don't just choose the good, be the good. I love and appreciate you. I just turned the camera off so I can steal back Ron's turning into imagination cookie.
It's time for our Walt Disney World Trivia Question of the Week, where I invite you to test your knowledge of Walt Disney World's history or see how well you pay attention to the details, sometimes in what you see, hear, remember, or even taste. If you think you know the answer, you can enter via our online form for a chance to win a Disney Prize package. Of course, before we get to this week's question, we're going to go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So last week, in anticipation of Walt Disney World's anniversary on October 1st, I asked you to tell me how many attractions were there operational in Fantasyland on Walt Disney World's opening day, October 1st, 1971. First things first, thank you to the hundreds of you who entered, got this one correct, or really, really close. I will tell you that the answer that I have is 8. The number of attractions that I have is 8. I literally received numbers that ranged from about 5 to somebody I think said 123. Somewhere in the... Listen, if you were basically in the range of like 6 to 10, I counted it as correct. Here's the ones that I have for Walt Disney World's opening day, October 1st. Snow White's Adventures. Remember, it wasn't Scary Adventures yet. The Mickey Mouse Review. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, rest in peace. Cinderella's Golden Carousel, now Prince Charming's Regal Carousel. Dumbo the Flying Elephant before it doubled in size and moved down the street, The Mad Tea Party, It's a Small World, and the Skyway to Tomorrowland. Now, a lot of you included Peter Pan's Flight as an opening day attraction. I counted it as correct anyway, but technically, Peter Pan's Flight did not open on October 1st, but it opened 2 days later on October 3rd. Doesn't matter. Again, if you're in the ballpark, I put you in, and I randomly selected one winner. And again, last week you were playing for all of my digital products, which include my 102 Ways to Save Money for and at Walt Disney World book, all 7 of my virtual audio walking tours of the Magic Kingdom's history, details, secrets, and stories, all with the 3D ambient audio sounds of the Magic Kingdom behind you. By the way, both of those still available, just $10 per audio tour and the book at WDWRadio.com. But I digress. But you know what's not available on the site, but is part of your prize package? A brand spanking new, I swear I haven't used it before, it's a WDW Radio new blue cobalt mug, only available as a prize for the trivia contest. And last week's winner, randomly selected, is Crystal Stosich from Chicago. Crystal, you use the online form. I have your mailing address. I will get your prize package out to you right away. If you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Walt Disney World Trivia Challenge. So as long as we're chatting with the original Dreamfinder about imagination and Figment, I of course have to ask you a question about our little purple friend. And tell me this week, what TV show inspired Imagineer Tony Baxter to give the little purple dragon the name Figment? I'm looking for the name of the TV show that inspired Tony Baxter to give the dragon the name of Figment. Now, you have until Sunday, October 11th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern to go to WDWRadio.com, click on this week's podcast, use the form there. Again, you're going to play for the book, all the audio tours, and a brand new mug. Also, don't forget to check out my daily-ish Disney trivia over on my Instagram stories and Instagram posts. It's easy, fun. There are no prizes, but you do get to test your knowledge and hopefully learn something new along the way. Again, I'm at Lou Mongello on Instagram. So good luck and have fun. That's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you so very much for taking the time to tune in this and every week. If you enjoyed my conversation with Ron this week, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments and be part of the community and conversation by going to WDWRadio.com/community. Find out all the different ways you can participate, including and especially our WDW Radio group on Facebook. You can visit it directly by going to WDWRadio.com/clubhouse. We'll also talk more about this week's show, our memories of Journey to Imagination, as well as my Top 5 Live Disney Plus Pick of the Week, your questions, 20 questions contest, and lots more this and every Wednesday at WDWRadioLive.com. It's my live video broadcast and conversation on Facebook again every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Of course, huge thanks goes to everyone who is part of our WDW Radio Nation family. Again, I sincerely appreciate your help and your support and your friendship, and I love being able to give back to you each and every month. I want to thank some of the new and longtime members, including Kaylin Yamarino, Chris Dolciato, Gary Witt, Doug Rabson, and Daniela Bentamo. If you want to find out how you can not only help the show, but get exclusive rewards every month, including scavenger hunts, trivia quests, we have our own private Facebook group, Magic Band covers, logo gear, exclusive live video group calls, and monthly care packages from Walt Disney World. Plus, this month I'm going to be announcing some new rewards for all the different levels. But to find out more, you can visit WDWRadio.com/support. Again, it's completely optional, but a great way to help you show your support for WDW Radio. And please don't forget that a portion of the proceeds of your contributions do go to our Dream Team project to benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America. Speaking of Make-A-Wish, I have to give my most sincerest gratitude and thanks to you and everyone who has participated in the fundraiser in honor of my mom's passing. It was started just over a week ago, thanks to Lisa Donato Glassner from the Castle Run, and we're now approaching 1,000 donors, and to date we have raised more than $56,000, which is 5 families of children with life-threatening illnesses who get to go and have their wishes granted in Walt Disney World. That is thanks to you. To find out more and to donate, you can visit WDWRadio.com/dreamwishes. Again, I cannot thank you enough for your overwhelming generosity. and the real positive difference you are going to make for those families and children that need that magic most. Again, WDWRadio.com/dreamwishes. And although we can't do Meet of the Month currently, gosh, I can't wait till they come back. I still would love to connect with you on social. I am at Lou Mangello on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. You can also be sure to like the WDW Radio page at facebook.com/WDW Radio. If you have a question you want me to answer on the air, you can email me, Lou at WDWRadio.com, or call the voicemail we heard on the air at 407-900-9391. That's 407-900-WDW1. Just call with a question, a comment, anything about this week's show or past show, or just saying hello from the parks. If there is some way that I can help you turn what you love into what you do with mentoring, coaching, one-on-one calls, you can visit LouMangello.com, find out some of the different ways that I can try and help you. Thanks to Becky Mankin and the entire team over at MouseFan Travel, my official and recommended travel provider. Whether you're planning your next trip to Walt Disney World or any destination, they can help you with the best possible prices, all available discounts, all with an incredible level of personal service that really is their hallmark. And again, it all comes at no cost to you. You can visit them for a free no obligation quote over at mousefantravel.com. And as always, my friend, and you are my friend. I mean that every day, now more than ever. If you like the show, and I hope that you do, all I ask is that you please help spread the word, let others know about it, tweet out that you're listening, share a link to this or your favorite episode on Facebook, and if you can, take just a couple of seconds to rate and review the show over in Apple Podcasts. I'd like to thank some recent reviewers like Disney Missy, who says it's the original and the best. Lou taught the world what a well-made, kind, well-researched, enjoyable, positive Disney-focused podcast was, and he's been making them for years. Wow, thank you. I started listening to him when my daughter was an infant. She's in high school now. Yikes, I just felt old. If you listen to only one Disney podcast, listen to WDW Radio. Lou puts out an awesome show and positivity to the universe at the same time. And Mick in Iowa says, thank you, Lou. I've enjoyed all 600 plus podcasts, learned so much about Walt Disney World, and especially the little Easter eggs and hidden references to Imagineers, your cast of regulars, and more. Your focus on the positive is a welcome oasis now more than ever. And Megan Amaris says, my favorite podcast of all time. I wish I had like an echo effect of all time. This is my favorite podcast of all time. No joke. I've listened to podcasts for at least 10 years. And when I discovered Lou's show in 2016, back in episode 435, I started going through and listening to his entire back catalog. I already know Lou's going to say, wow, that's a lot of Lou. I am. Other podcasts have gone into my listening lineup and dropped off, but WDW Radio has remained in my number one spot and will stay there for good reason. Wow, thank you. His content is always so interesting, whether it be diving deep into the history of an attraction, delicious restaurant reviews, or top-notch guests. Lou doesn't just, quote, do a podcast, close quote, but he's also gathered a wonderful community around those that love Disney World, and they all hang out in the best drama-free clubhouse over in a Facebook group. I've met so many awesome friends in this community because of what Lou started. Lou truly cares about his friends, not fans, and it shows. That's one of the reasons I've stuck around, not even in addition to his great content. Give the show a listen. You might find your favorite show as well. And oh yeah, Becky and Tim are cool too. Oh, Chris Shepard. Chris, thank you so much for your incredibly kind words. You, my friend, you and Mick and Disney Missy and everyone else, you are the ones who create and nurture and love on this community. I just build the clubhouse. You are the one who populates it. So thank you again so very much, not just for the reviews, but for listening, for all the good that you choose and the good that you are. I say all the time how important it is to choose the good. You've done so much to go above and beyond that, to not just choose the good, but to be the good. And I'm telling you, it has an incredibly powerful, positive ripple towards people in ways that you might not realize. So thank you for that. Thank you for continuing to choose the good. I hope to see you on the live show this Wednesday night. I hope to see you again right here next week. Please choose the good, spread the word, and I hope that this is your best week ever. I love you. I appreciate you. You are important. See ya.
Hi, Lou and WDW family. It's Elizabeth from Massachusetts. I just finished listening to episode 600. Congrats again. And 601. So firstly, hi, Christina from New Hampshire. I thought that was so funny. That people, I get that people listen all the way through, but that someone else from around this country shouted me out. So, hi, this is awesome. And Lou, I think that now speaking about your 600th episode, that's what this is all about. And you've really made it about us all too. And the fact that you even did your 600th episode and made it about, everyone's favorite moments was, I think, a perfect way to celebrate it and commemorate it. So congratulations again. I'm looking forward to 600 and even more episodes. And thank you for everything you do. And also thank you for keeping things positive all the time. I feel like right now on other accounts too that I kind of look at, especially on Instagram, it's kind of heartbreaking. And I think for a lot of us who can't get to the parks right now, it is too to kind of just see, people getting to finally go there. And I know that moment will come again, but it is nice to also have a podcast right now to listen to that's not necessarily focused on what's currently going on minute by minute in the park. So I know that I appreciate that from being from up here in the Northeast. Speaking of that, your newest episode, 601, is awesome. Tons of fun. My favorite song will always be the Tiki Room in Adventureland in the Magic Kingdom. And I'm excited to listen to the next one. Have an awesome day, everybody. Stay positive, do good things, and we'll see you real soon. Bye, guys.
Hi, this is Nina in Norristown, Pennsylvania. I was just listening to your 2 shows about the music of Disney World, and it just made me feel so nostalgic for when, about 10 years ago, when my daughter was a baby, and I would bring her down for breakfast every morning, and we would put on Mouse World Radio, if you remember that, and we would listen to, while she ate her breakfast, we would listen to the opening announcement for Disney World and the Main Street music, and it's just, I can't hear that music now without thinking of my little girl, who is now a tween and kind of sassy, but it was just a very special time, and the music's very special to me, and thank you so much for your show.
Hi, this is Bob W. from West Bend, Wisconsin. I just finished listening to shows 603 and 604, and one of the things I thought about that wasn't mentioned were the Walt Disney World swan boats. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get down there when they were still being available going around the castle, but I think it would be an interesting thing to have been able to take part in. Thanks for the great shows, and keep up the good work.
Like Shriek or Killer can spark the mind to start a thriller. Add some more sparks like Dagger, Blood, and Gory, and then a mystery story. One chilling word, like Shriek or Killer, can spark the mind to start a thriller. Add some more sparks like Dagger, Blood, and Gory, and then a mystery story. Mix red and gold from autumn flowers, purple and blue, from twilight hours, green summer hills, and rainbows play a part. A painter's brush, a work of art. Mix red and gold from autumn flowers, purple and blue, from twilight hours, green summer hills, and rainbows play a part. A painter's brush, a work of art.